Nonverbal leakage. How to avoid giving us away without our knowing. 1. There are many occasions in our social lives when we wish to hide our true feelings, but somehow fail to do so. The bereaved mother who is trying to conceal her sadness from her children is said to be putting on a brave face, as if she were wearing a mask of false expressions over a face of true ones. When we fail to deceive in this way, how does the information about our true feelings leak out? What is the source of nonverbal leakage, and how can we tell if someone is lying? The case of the bereaved mother is one where the deception fails because there is no great pressure for it to succeed. In fact, there is a positive advantage for it failing to deceive. If the bereaved mother were too successful in concealing her grief, she would be criticized for a lack of feeling. Equally, if she failed to display some visible inhibition of her grief, she would be said to lack courage and self-control. Her brave face is therefore an example of pseudo-deception, where the deceiver is happy to be found out. Either consciously or unconsciously, she wants her forced smile to be read as forced. But what happens if the pressure to deceive is greater? The defendant in a murder trial, who knows he is guilty but desperately protests his innocence, is under enormous pressure to succeed with his deception. He lies with his verbal statements and must match his words with equally convincing body actions. How does he do it? He can control his words, but can he control his body? The answer is that he can control some parts of his body better than others. The easy parts to discipline are those whose actions he is most aware of in ordinary day-to-day signaling. He knows most about his smiles and frowns, he sees them occasionally in a mirror, and his facial expressions will come out at the top of his self-awareness list, so he can lie best with his face. Nonverbal leakage. How to avoid giving us away without our knowing. 2. His general body postures can give some valuable clues because he is not always fully conscious of the degree of stiffness of his stance or the degree of slump or alertness. But the value of these body postures is greatly reduced by social rules that require certain rather stereotyped poses in specific contexts. A murder trial defendant, for instance, is traditionally expected to sit or stand rather stiffly, whether guilty or innocent, and this can easily act as a postural signal blunter. Hand movements and postures are more useful clues to deception because our murderer will be less aware of them, and there are usually no set rules to blunt his manual expressiveness. Of course, if he were undergoing military interrogation, his hands would be signal blunted by the strict code of military etiquette. Standing at attention makes lying easier for a soldier than for a civilian. But normally there will be gesticulations, and these should be carefully studied for deception clues. Finally, his legs and feet are of particular interest because this is the part of the body where he is least aware of what he is doing. Frequently, however, the actions of this lower region of the body are obscured from view, so that, in practice, their usefulness is severely limited. Furniture permitting, though, they are a vital giveaway area, which is one of the reasons why people feel more comfortable during interviews and business negotiations when sitting behind the lower body screen of a desk or table. This fact is sometimes exploited in competitive interviews by placing the candidate's chair alone in the center of the room so that the body of each victim is fully exposed to view. To sum up, then, the best way to deceive is to restrict your signals to words and facial expressions. The most efficient means of doing this is either to conceal the rest of your body or keep it so busy with a complicated mechanical procedure that all its visual deception clues are stifled by the demand for physical dexterity. In other words, if you have to lie, do it over the telephone or when peering over a wall. Alternatively, when threading a needle or maneuvering a car into a parking space. If much of you is visible and you have no mechanical task to perform, then to succeed with your lie, you must try to involve the whole of your body in the act of deception, not just your voice and face.